Hello, everyone. I'm home. Welcome back. Well, it's Thanksgiving evening, and our sons just left. And I thought I'd share with you a couple of the things that I did leading up to Thanksgiving on Wednesday. I spent the afternoon just enjoying the whole day. I cooked and I cleaned and I decorated a little bit, just anticipating what I knew was going to be a great Thanksgiving, and it was. I just wanted to make the house all warm and snuggly and get all the food started and make everything wonderful for my sons and my husband. So I kind of went around the house and plucked a few of the Thanksgiving or like the fall decorations out and put them away. I left a few things out, and I was looking at that little sleigh that I got, and it does look like the one that I made last year, the big sleigh. Now it doesn't have a little seat in it, and I'll probably put one in it so I can put a little Santa in it, but I thought they really looked the same compared to each other when, I just made mine from the idea in my head that I'd seen in a magazine. And some little boy had made that one, and I just think they're so sweet. I love a sleigh. And then I had found this big Belsnickel type of Santa at Goodwill one day, and he's tall. He's about 14 inches tall, and I just loved him. But he has some kind of writing all over him. It says Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, and I just wasn't real crazy about that. He had come from Home Goods originally, and the little markup at the top from Goodwill says 3BLK, which means black. So it was $3.99, and if black was half off that day, I might have gotten it for $2. But anyway, like I said, he has writing all over him, and I just didn't care for him. I did set him out last year, but I thought I'd like to paint him burgundy, maybe gold, maybe dark green, maybe rust, like an orangey color. And then at his base, under his boots, he had this kind of glittery stuff, which I didn't care for. So I ended up mixing up some colors. One was called Orange Spice. The other one was Candy Bar. It's kind of a brown. And I mixed them together and made this real deep russet color. And I really like him because you know how I like orange and everything. And then at his base, I just left his boots black, and at the base, I painted over that glitter with the same stuff, and then I sprinkled my cinnamon and my coffee mixture over it and made it look real rustic, and then I sprayed him with sealer so that, it'll all stay put. And he's really pretty. He's unique because he's kind of I'd call him like a persimmon color. It's a real deep, kind of a raisin color maybe. Brownish orange. It's really pretty. And then I tucked my Barnwood Santa that I painted many years ago. He's about 5 feet tall. I planted him back in the corner behind my Christmas tree, so he's just peeking out a little bit, and hung the cords on those trees, and the lights are so bright. The cords, you can't see them in real life. They're kind of hidden behind that little chair. Then I started putting some of my Santas into that big pie safe that's in my kitchen. I took all the pumpkin stuff out, and there's a lot, guys. This is just part of them. Half of them are downstairs in my primitive room. And the lights are so bright. They're not this bright when you look at them in person. It's just a real nice soft glow when you walk through the kitchen, but when you take a picture, and I'm not sure how to get that glare off of there, but I put them all in there, and then I hung this stocking that I made and had stained. And it really looks better hanging by one of the knobs, but then it covers up too many of the Santas. So I don't know if I'm going to leave that stocking there or not. I might move it someplace else, but tell me what you guys think. That stocking turned out perfect. It was just the right amount of grunginess, dirt, whatever you want to call it. It looks like it's been around a while, and I didn't iron it. I didn't throw it in the dryer. I just laid it on a paper towel and let it dry. And there's my little Santies. I've got so many of them, and I just love them. And like I've told you many times before, I've only given a quarter to $1 for each one of them. And they're always real cheap looking and chalky looking when I get them. So I bring them home and wipe them down with a coat of Golden Oak Stain by Minwax. And it raises them up a little bit and gives them a little bit more depth. And I just love him. I hate to say that I have favorites, but this little guy's my absolute favorite. I got him probably 15 years ago for $1 at a yard sale, and I stained him because he looked so cheap, and that started my obsession with these little Santas. Now this one's a little bit taller. He's standing in the back. He's about 8 inches tall, and that's what color I was going to paint that other Santa, but I thought, well, they're always red and green or gold, so I went for the rust color. And then this little guy does have a rust-colored coat on, so I oftentimes will sit him around in little vignettes around the house. He's been in the bathroom before, and here he's sitting on a cake stand with some hand soap and some roses. And then I have a friend named Kim Swaney, and she's a primitive artist, and she makes the most beautiful primitives. And she gave me this little Santa head probably 10 years ago, and he's on a spring, and when you walk past, his head kind of bobbles a little bit, and she grunges them just perfect. And I've always loved this little snowman. Now, he sits out all year downstairs in my primitive room, but I always bring him upstairs for the winter, and he'll sit out all winter until it starts warming up, and then I'll put him back downstairs. But every time I look at him, I think about my friend Kim. She's fun, and we've always had a good time together. Then I set one of my snowmen in the lantern on the front porch that had a pumpkin in it. This little lantern was given to me by someone, and the two sides kind of got cracked and broke, so I took those glass pieces out, and I always set a pumpkin or Easter eggs or something in it, and this time I put Santa. And then, of course, my porch cushions, I took the fall-colored cushions off, and I washed the green cushions and cleaned my porch real good, and I almost covered those black flowered cushions back there, and I always forget that when I made those cushions, I made the back side of them red so that I could just flip them around in the Christmas time. And I went to cover them, and I flipped them over, and they were already red. I don't know why I forget that I do that. So I put those on the red side, and I had some red roses that were on the porch this summer, and they look good for Christmas. And then, I don't know if you guys know about this. I'm sure you've seen it, where they take like dried out mums and they spray paint them orange and gold so that they last a little bit longer. Well, real quick, let me tell you about this pillow. This is my wicker chair that has a different color pillow on it for summer. And remember that tablecloth I got that was huge and real faded out and soft? It's huge, so I used it to make a pillow for this. So anyway, I'm thinking about those mums. I had so many mums this year that dried out, and this is one of them. And I thought the other day I was getting ready to plant some of them, and then some of them were just too dried out, and I just wanted to pitch them. So I thought, oh, those girls used to spray paint those gold and orange and burgundy. I thought, why couldn't I paint them white and use them for my Christmas decorations? Well, guys, I went in the garage and I found a can of off-white paint. It was called Antique White Spray Paint. Went out in the yard and I spray painted a couple of them. And they looked okay, but I think I need white spray paint to make them really pop. I don't know if this looks goofy or not, but I consider it a total fail. I didn't like it once I got them done. I put this one on that porch dresser. And I don't know. I think I'm going to give them one more coat of white because I think they'll be a little brighter. And I was thinking, well, I've got some red bows somewhere. I'll go get those, tuck that in there. And it really looks good from the road because you can't tell that they're spray painted mums. And then I set all of them over there and I put the bows on them. And it's okay, but I'll consider it a fail because I'm not real happy with it. But it made my porch look pretty, and I put that little rusty lantern there, and I've got to get a candle to put in there. But, well, the jury's out on that one. So I came in, and then I would cook a little, I'd decorate a little. You know, you have to have things in the oven. So I was making an apple pie, and what I do with apple pies, I can't stand it if the pie isn't done. If the crust is soggy or the pie or the apples are a little bit not soft. So I always make up my mixture with a little flour, brown sugar, and butter. And I fry my apples a little bit for like 2 minutes, just until they start to get soft. And I pre-bake my pie shell for about 5 minutes on broil, on low broil. And that firms it up enough that the pie gets done. And this pie was so delicious. I put a crumbled top on it, and it was so good. But when I got the pies or the apples all into the pie crust, I had some of the mixture left, the brown sugar and the butter. And I thought, I don't want to throw that away because it was too much to put in with the apples. It would have made it a little bit too runny and soggy. So I was just getting ready to mix up my pumpkin pie, and it called for brown sugar. And I thought, I'm going to use that mixture that I had left over. It's just butter and brown sugar. So, and a little bit of flour maybe. So I added that to my mixture. It told you to use a half a cup of sugar and a half a cup of brown sugar. I just used that stuff, and guys, it was so good. It turned out great. Then in the $2 bag sale, which I'm going to do another video showing you all the great stuff I got, they had a big table full of these things. Wilton mini cupcake holders. And I didn't want to take too many because I have some, so I just took 2. And they were so pretty. They were red and green. And I thought, well, I'll make up a quick batch of little pecan sandies and some little brown sugar cookies, and I rolled them in little tiny balls and baked them, rolled them in brown sugar, the brown sugar ones, and rolled my pecan sandies in powdered sugar and filled this cake stand with those little things because I knew when my boys walked in that evening, they were going to stay all night with us, they would attack that plate of cookies, and they did. It didn't last long at all. Then, the whole time I'm doing all this stuff, running in and out, working on my yard, spray painting mums, decorating, baking, having a blast. This is what I live for, guys. I put on Christmas music on YouTube, and I was blasting it a little bit. My husband was there somewhere, but he wasn't in the living room. And I was playing Dean Martin and Andy Williams, Alabama, and this guy right here, he's my standby. This picture hangs in my beauty shop. It's Barry Manilow, and if he's one of my favorites of all time, yes, I'm not ashamed to say that. I love him, and if you ever get a chance around Christmas time, look up the song River. It's by Joni Mitchell, and he does a rendition of it that is just, it's about a couple that breaks up at Christmas time, and it's sad, and it's beautiful, and he sings it great. I was on cloud 9 listening to this music. I was tearing up and kind of dancing around the kitchen and having a blast. This is a tablecloth that it's a huge one, and I folded it in half and laid it on my countertop while I worked because, guys, even though my countertop's dry and it's ready for action, I'm a little nervous about it. I didn't want anything touching my new countertops, so I put this on the side where I really cut noodles and roll out pie dough and everything, and we used the other tablecloth under all the food, but food did get on those countertops and they wiped down just fine. But while I was working, I covered it up, and I'm going to cover them up from time to time because, I don't know, they're precious to me. So I'm looking at my Christmas tree and I'm thinking, it looks great, but it needs a little red. Well, I had seen where these girls were taking the round ornaments and they were painting them like a country red color or country green, gold, and then they sprinkle them with flour or baking soda, and then they antique them with some cinnamon and stuff. Well, I didn't want to do all that, so I had that big tablecloth. So I cut it up in little rugged strips, just real rustic, I guess I need to say. And I cut them in strips and decided to tie them on the tree. Now, I cut them kind of long because I wasn't sure how long I wanted them. And I tied them all over the branches, and I really love it. It's real homespun looking, and it gives it just the right amount of red color. But I think some of them are a little too long. I might cut them off, but I'm going to leave them this way and just live with it for a few days and see what I think, because the more I look at it, the more I like it. But I think as I get closer to the top, I'll shorten some of those. But I don't know, guys, it looks really pretty, and when you look at it across the room, now the red pops, because before, with all the stuff I have on it, the lights are kind of dull, and it was kind of boring. So with the red, I think it really pops. Plus, I'm thinking about my friend that I just lost. She loved red. Her and I both loved red, and it makes me think of her because I added some red to it. So I'm real happy with it. Now, I have this bowl. I was sitting there that afternoon listening to Christmas music, and I have this Goofus glass bowl that I bought at a thrift store for 99 cents because a lot of the glass or the color was gone. Goofus glass is where on the bottom of a bowl they have deeply embedded flowers, usually roses, that are painted red, and a lot of decoration around it that's red. Now, this is on the back side of the bowl. And once the red is done, they spray paint, or I don't know how they did it back in the day, but they put gold on it. Well, this one was missing a lot of the paint, and they usually are. They're not really, I don't know if they really use these bowls or... Sorry guys, I had to stop for a second. I was going to have to cough. Like I said, I don't know if these bowls were really used or if they were more for decorative purposes, but they're good on the glass side at the top. You could put something in them, but you are definitely not supposed to try to fix these things. It ruins their value. But this one had no value anyway because I got it for 99 cents and I'm going to use it for decor. But I was at Dollar Tree one day and I found this red nail polish that had a little bit of sparkle in it, a little glitter, and I thought that looks about like the color of that rose in my Goofus glass bowl. So I'm sitting there waiting for something to come out of the oven and listening to Barry and Dean and enjoying my day so much. And I started painting the backside of that bowl. And guys, it is exactly the same color. I could not believe how similar it was. This is me going around the edge. Now, nail polish goes on kind of thin, so I had to give it 2 or 3 coats. But this is the part I painted with nail polish. Now, this is the backside of the bowl. I got the bowl turned upside down on my lap, and I'm painting it. And what I've already painted it a lot. I've used almost the whole bottle. I'm going to have to go back and get another bottle. But what they did was, once the red is all done, which this here red around the edge, I think it should have been gold, so I'm going to have to remove that. But when I got that done and it dried real good, and I turned it over where the gold should be, I'm going to buy some bright gold, this color gold, and spray paint the back when I'm finished. But guys, look at how well that turned out. It's looking exactly the same color. And my grandma had a piece of Goofus glass that we broke. Mom and I had it for years and we broke it one day. And I really missed it. And so this is just my little project piece. And I think if anybody ever found it and wanted to use it, they could. But look how beautiful it is when you turn it over. Now, all those clear spots around the roses is where the gold will be once I spray it with the gold. And I'll let you guys see how it's turning out when it's all done. But it's just too beautiful of a piece to let it go for 99 cents. And I'm going to just fix it. Don't tell anybody. And you guys remember the hope chest that I found at the estate sale for $5, and I didn't know what to do with it, and I ended up using kind of a mixed media technique on it with different colors of paint. Well, I did it the weekend or the week before I went to that flea market at my friend Marky's, and my plan was to take it to that flea market. But I'll be honest with you guys, I didn't take it because I loved it, and I thought, well, I'll sell it in my store. Well, it sat in the garage for a few weeks, and I thought, what am I going to do with this thing? I ended up opening that thing up and putting all my tools in it. I didn't have a place to store my tools, and now I do, and I covered it with a tarp out in the garage so it doesn't get yucky. So until next time, I want you guys to know that I love you, and I'm thinking of you, and I'm hoping that everybody's having a great holiday. You can join me on Instagram at MarcyJo631, and we'll talk about things that's going on around my place. And I'm over the moon with this holiday season coming up. I'm really getting into Christmas now, and I'm going to put all my fall stuff away. And my boys went home, so I had to keep myself busy this afternoon and talk to you. But I am going to tell you about the $2 bag sale. We're going to have a part 2, and I'll do that real soon. I love you guys from the bottom of my heart.